the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Today is a very musical day. We have 3 musicians on the show, and they all have totally different sounds. So I'm here right now with Todd Shhehan and Forrest from the band Catalog, and we'll also have actor-composer Danny Darst, who plays the guitar and has acted in a lot of Robert Altman films. Musicians, Forrest and Todd, were born and raised, both of them in the East Coast area of Boston, Massachusetts. Todd told me what his band was not. So today we'll find out from him and Forrest what his band really is. Let's hear what it's not, first of all.
Well, first off, thanks for having us, Jim. Appreciate that. What it's not first?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not predictable.
Oh, that's a good one. You didn't tell me that one.
Yeah. It's not confined. Anything you'd like to say?
It's certainly not traditional.
Oh, so?
Yeah, in the technology, in the sound, in the tunes, all of them take a different spin on what most people would expect to be hearing in traditional music.
Let's hear what it is. You have a sound, electronica?
It's sort of electronica.
What does that mean? Let's start defining some of these things, because it's different from somebody just getting up and playing a song and singing.
No, it's very true. And electronic can mean a lot of different things. Some people can equate that with like rave style music and stuff like that. Basically, we're kind of electronica rock, new wavy, a little bit goth.
I was going to say gothic. You call it gothic. What does that mean?
Cool.
Cool. I mean, does it? Okay, and then the other one, industrial.
Industrial, yeah. It has a bit of industrial in there too, which is electronic, the same sort of thing.
So do all those things work together to make your sound?
Yes, all together.
And what does catalog mean? It's spelled differently than a catalog, right?
It is. It's C-A-T-A-L-O-G. The way that we mean it, you can look it up. C-A-T being derived from catastrophe, log being derived from recording. So recording a bad series of events.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
That's what we're doing. We are in this world as far as we know so far.
So how many members are in the band?
We actually have 4 members total. Myself and Todd are vocalists. We also have Peter VX, who is an electrical engineer, the synth player, who really defines a lot of the technological side of Catalog. Very experimental, very new. And we also have our drummer, Scott. So
do you play an instrument?
I do not play an instrument.
Do you play an instrument?
I do, but not in this project as of now.
Oh, you
But
guys
I do compose some stuff, and I work with Scott quite a bit. Scott is kind of the musical backbone. He starts off a lot of the process of the note aspect, and then it's given to everybody else, and Peter does a lot of the production sort of side of it, of how it's going to come out. And we have some guest musicians come in here and there.
Oh, you do?
Stuff.
Did you train classically?
No, I did not.
And did you train classically?
I trained classically as a singer and a dancer, primarily. I have a master's degree in dance, so I've been performing in all kinds of different methods across the board, but being a vocalist for a band is fairly new for me. It's only
What
the last
kind
couple
of
years.
dance?
Starting with ballet, and then transitioning into modern and jazz and tango. And
Have you used any of that
absolutely
in the band?
That's what I was. My original function in the band was visual.
Oh, it was.
And she's very visual.
Yeah, and so do you costume yourself the same as they are?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
how do you, tell me about the costuming, because who decides on what you're going to wear?
Well, we'll kind of agree on an overall aesthetic that derives itself from the goth aesthetic in general, and we'll build
Yeah, a
upon
lot of
that.
black.
A lot of black, shocked with bright colors of various sorts, but we make it. Some evenings it'll be sort of cabaret, and some evenings it'll be very technological, and some evenings it'll be almost post-apocalyptic. So we'll decide as a group on what sort of look we're going for. And,
But you do decide before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, sometimes we don't have the time for that, and then we all just show up and we just look like, someone just went on a canvas. But, hey, that's good too.
But that's
rarely
good.
though, rarely though.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
usually
very
pretty
rarely.
coordinated.
You're pretty good. Where do you play? At what kind of venues?
We have played at Bar Sinister, which is also known as Bordner's. Bar Sinister is the Gothic incarnation of Bordner's. We have played at the Palms in West Hollywood. We have played for LA Pride. Where else?
The museum in downtown, the Silver Factory.
Oh, Silver Factory Studios,
was-
very amazing underground venue.
But you,
Very cool people.
so is that what happens? People find out about you how? Do they have to go to your
They kinda-
website, or do
Well,
they
yeah,
talk?
basically
or?
kind of that and word of mouth. It sort of has that sort of studio, Andy Warhol factory sort of thing, and that whole thing. So we play like things that are cool and subversive and underground.
Yeah.
And when you write, how do you actually write, Todd?
Lyrically,
Yeah. Do you write on a piece of paper? Do you write with a piano? Do you
generally start with my noggin, but yeah, sometimes it's being at a bar and grabbing a pen and a piece of paper and scribbling down. But now I've got a good phone that I can record anything. Just hop into the bathroom. But generally, sometimes I find people write my lyrics for me and they don't even know it.
I was going to say, they're like lyrics of everyday lyrics, right?
Of everyday life subjects that pop up: political, social, political, love, hate, in between, this, that, and the other thing.
What are some of the names?
some of the names for titles?
The Spotlight.
Yeah, Spotlight. The Rapist.
Oh,
Because if you
heavy.
put the and rapist together, you have therapist.
Martin.
Martin, In the Way of You. We do a cover of Destroyer by the Kinks. We also do a cover by Eric Clapton. We'll leave that
you
one
do?
alone. What that song is, it's up for you to guess. Yeah, so forth and so on.
And then, do you have a following? Will they go from one underground club to another?
Yeah, we have quite a few really devoted, committed, always there kinds of people. And it is wonderful.
Stalkers, actually.
Is that what happens?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would think. Do they all come in black too?
Well, we definitely encourage that. Some aren't really good stalkers.
So they don't know to come in
They haven't
black?
quite cut it yet.
They don't know they should.
But there's always time.
I think the interesting thing is that you're both from the Boston area, or on the East Coast, and you said that you didn't know him, Forrest, that
No.
you had never gotten together with him. How did the band get together then?
I met our keyboardist and engineer and producer, Peter VX, at Bar Sinister several years ago. And I was exploring the goth industrial scene as a dancer at the time. And we got together, and then he introduced me to his two best friends, Scott and Todd.
Oh,
And
so you
we-
were already with them.
Yeah, we had actually.
I mean, you were with your friend who knew your friend.
Right.
So that's how you got
Everybody else, we all moved from Boston out here
Together.
several years ago. And
The
then-
other boys are from Boston too?
Yep,
The other
yep.
Oh, they are. Do you all go to school back there?
Well, we all went to school, but not
You went-
together. we
You all
did.
went differently?
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to general Boston schools around the area.
And you?
I went to school all over the East Coast, New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., and then I finally ended up out here after I finished my master's.
And when you got a master's in dance?
In dance, yeah.
From where?
From American University, Washington, D.C.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so who did you carry that choreography with you?
I
When
did.
You, because, I mean, who out here is doing that kind of choreography?
Very, very few people. Modern dance is far less prevalent on the West Coast than on the East Coast. But it does infiltrate a lot of the more rock and roll goth industrial scene now. And yeah, it's a signature movement style that I feel like I've helped to integrate into what's going on the West Coast now in goth industrial dance.
Will it continue?
I hope so.
Can you put together a company?
Oh, we have a performance company that is also myself and Peter. we have a performance group called Mood Organ Project, and we do multimedia live dance performances with audio and visual components, film, 10-foot by 10-foot metal and wire spider webs.
Where do you do those?
We did one great performance at the Avalon, Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Several
That's
at
the big stage.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
great.
big
yeah.
stage. It's wonderful. All around the more underground clubs throughout Hollywood.
And would you use for music catalog sound?
Catalog.
They do?
Yeah, we have done that. We have.
Do we just call you catalog, or do we call it catalog sound?
No, it's catalog. Catalogsound.com.
Oh,
is how
I
you
see.
can get into the MySpace through the back door.
I
If you go
see.
to www.catalog.sound.com.
Oh, but your catalog. We're just
Right.
calling the band catalog.
Right.
I see, I see. So they would play for your dance
We've used
performances?
recorded
too?
pieces, yeah, and often a lot of original music for those pieces.
And what kind of, when you do your dance, do you have a costumer come in, or do you
I
do
am
that?
my costumer.
You are?
You should. I have two closets. One of them is supposed to be the costume closet. One of them is supposed to be for clothing. But apparently my clothing is generally
Is the same as...
pretty costumey, so there is no difference anymore.
You talked about film, but that's part of a dance program. Has Catalog ever done film music?
Any music videos?
Or both? Have you done music videos?
Yeah, done music videos. I've actually been in a couple independent films that I can't even remember back from Boston, where it was scenes being in a bar, which is always, pegged
The
in,
music,
and
and that's
being
the background.
Irish and being in a bar drinking.
Right.
So I've been on some sets before and stuff like that.
So having
And,
that background music, does Catalog play for films? Have you done that? Have you
well,
written for films?
We've been actually working on trying to get some of our stuff into films.
Yeah, because I
definitely.
think that would be great. It's a sound. It's a very thumpy sound to me, isn't
Thumpy
it?
is a great explanation. In fact, there is a film called Synth Nation, in which
This is true.
Catalog.
It's a documentary
It's a
film.
documentary in which Catalog is featured. So our other two band members are speaking to the aesthetic of goth industrial music, the thumpy music.
The thumpy,
I think
yeah.
they actually used that description of it.
Did they? Oh,
Yeah,
good. I
and
didn't
so
know that.
the Synth Nation video is recently released, and that's available out there now.
And so you said sometimes people don't even realize what's going on when they're talking. But where does the inspiration come to write?
I guess being sensitive to the world around you and having some feelings about what's happening.
Would you write specifically, like, for, say, Forrest said, oh, we're going to do a dance on Albuquerque. And, would you do something like that? And then would that be your
I
inspiration?
have to do my research first.
That's what I mean. So, I don't know. I mean, would you write something about the mountains or what?
I would give it the old college try, but that's about all I can say. I don't know how much further it would go from there, but I would definitely try.
But it's not inspiration based. It's more every day, it sounds like.
Well, that is inspiration, because hopefully every day you learn something, or you think about something that and give it some sort of attention.
And we have a really strong friendship too outside of the band, and several
All
of
of
our
you?
conversations, several of our conversations have led into inspiration for creative work, and
Do you
a few of the
collaborate?
lyrics as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure.
you collaborate with those kind of
Well,
things?
we all inspire each other in one way or another, so, or there would
And are
be a
you just
point.
sitting there writing while they're talking?
I'm just absorbing it like a sponge.
And then it comes
and then
out
I run
later?
away and I write it down and be like, aha, they don't even know they said that.
Like an
It's mine now.
anthropologist.
Do you write it, or do you
I
use
have
a
a
computer?
smartphone, so I can record it too.
Oh, you record it too.
So it depends. Like I said, it could be a bar napkin and a pen, or be on my phone, or when I'm at home in a notebook.
So Catalog, very cool. Thank you two for coming.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much. And don't go away. We'll be right back with musician composer Danny Darst. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with singer, songwriter, poet, actor, master storyteller, turned playwright, Daniel Dean Darst. Danny Darst made his theater debut in 1981 acting in 2 by South, which was Robert Altman's debut stage directing as well. So the two began a lifelong relationship as collaborators, confidants, and close personal friends. Danny is a composer who worked in TV. He wrote the theme for Oregon Trail. He's been acting. He's cast in a lot of Jonathan Demme films and a lot of Robert Altman films. And we're back again to Robert Altman because you're working with Bob's son, Michael, who's directing your play, Exit 10. So, was this planned by you?
No, I think it just sort of, I wrote this play in 1983 or 4.
Ah.
And I wrote it to try to learn about that I had just experienced theater, working with Robert, of course, and Cliff DeYoung and Alfred Woodard and Leo Burmester, and I had never experienced that kind of orthodoxy, if you will.
Did you take acting lessons?
No.
Oh, so this was a complete new thing for you?
I came from a music background and in studio recording and composing and so forth, and well, I'm a truck driver is what I am, and a chicken farmer, but my my professional life is just as a musician, I learned in that genre, and I learned from those kind of people.
But you were with the best. Studio musicians are supposed to be great, and you were composing in the studio and working there?
I have to say the first hit record I had in 1974, I think, the Jordanaires were on that session. So yes, I've been so fortunate to be a few times in the right place.
But they had respect for you and your work, so I think it was, I hate to use the word collaborative again, but it was with your people, right? Collaboration with talented people.
Well, that's true. Nonetheless, it's helpful to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I believe in that too. I think that's true. I think that's true.
One can easily be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Then you wouldn't be here today, Danny.
Indeed.
But tell us a little bit. You had been working on Exit 10, which is it your story? Is it autobiographical?
I think I fall back on what most writers would say, and I say, and fall back there comfortably. I think these compilations of characters are a bit of myself, a bit of other people, and a bit of other experiences. I can say I've stayed true to what I know about. My background as a songwriter is simply that in songwriting you have about 10 to 15 seconds to establish where you're sitting, sort of like the Buddha would say, where you're sitting, and then you have another 20 seconds to solidify that, and then you got, and if you're fortunate, you have another minute and a half to get on out of it as gracefully as possible. So, in songwriting, that structure, that if you will, quite rigid time frame.
People don't realize that, though. Just what you're saying. You're saying it's very structured and very rigid.
It is, and of course, it comes from our what I would call our empirical ability to listen. We know that that's about how long we're good for as human beings, and so that was where I first really went to school of any kind, is in where I had a job to do. I had a time frame. I had accountability within that, and when I took that into this play, I wanted to see if I could take my discipline from this and move it into other things that I felt like I could express myself.
You said you've been writing it for a long time. Has it been changing Did you write new songs?
I wrote it and finished it in '84.
And that's it? And it was done? You haven't rewritten it?
I've done very marginal things. I've changed a few lines that I'm performing. I'm performing about 35 minutes to 40 minutes in this production.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you acting? You wrote it, and you're acting in it.
I'm acting in it, and I changed a few things commensurate to my age and the way I feel.
That little bit. Would you call it a musical?
No.
It's not a musical play. Did Robert Altman ever direct musicals?
Robert Altman had a love for music and on one hand, one might say, no, he didn't direct a musical, but he did. He surely did.
The way he directed. Is Michael Altman, who's his son, does he have that same kind of feeling? Are you collaborating with him as far as the songs and what to do?
He has more of it than his dad had.
Oh, he does. Well,
in a good way.
Because he's a poet as well, and he's written. He wrote an unpublished biography of his father. So he's a writer too. He could understand what you're doing.
Michael Altman is a fellow artist, as was his dad, and the rest of the family as well. Michael and I, of course, share the same place in history. You know, where our references and our understanding come from the same places. So we have a kind of a unique place that we operate in.
So he can direct you in a different way. Do you see any similarities between father and son directing?
Huge similarities.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And what were their styles?
They were radically different, I think, and at the same time, many things that I see readily when I'm dealing with Michael, I saw in his dad, and of course, I'm still learning about that from Michael. Michael and I have been friends for 30 years, and this is our first collaboration.
Oh, wow.
And we've been partners in crime in many ways over the years, just in mutual understanding and a commonality of who we're around and who we're working with, yeah.
What about school? Did you take classical training, music training?
I didn't. My family were roustabouts. I was just raised to work. And,
so they weren't musical, your family?
No.
And they weren't actors?
No, they were fruit pickers and truck drivers and 10-cent con men.
Did you draw? Have you drawn a lot from that lifestyle in your work?
Every breath.
Is that right? And what are some of the songs like that we're going to see in Exit 10 at the Theater 68 on Sunset Boulevard?
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
This would be, it's always against a songwriter's code to explain what he's doing because his work is supposed to explain what he's doing.
In the first 20 seconds and then the next minute.
But I will explain this to you.
Okay.
My music is, I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs, but they're all the same song. They're all about the same thing, and that just is this journey we're on, what I see in it and what I've taken from it, and my experience, and I always tell everyone, and it's the truth, the one thing that I can do better than anyone else is I can change a tire on a truck better than anyone else.
You can write a song.
Lady Luck, she ride with everyone. A truck driver, gunfighter, poet, and a banker's son. She do not go with them who seek her out, but she ride along to show what she's about. Lady Luck, she do not need your time. She do not need the rhythm and the rhyme. When Lady Luck, she fancy for the road. All them who really know her, let her go. You can find her in Topeka on a hot summer night. A game of stud poker neath the 40-watt light. The pool balls are clicking and the hustler is cool. He can't beat a farm boy no matter what he do. That's a
I
kind
love
of
it. I
a
felt
cool
like
thing.
Lady Luck when you're singing it. I felt like, and it sounded like you were almost harmonizing with yourself. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the things that you call Michael Altman is a road warrior. What does that mean? That sounds like your song, really.
Well, I think Michael set himself apart at a young age to step outside of it. He's a local fella here. He's experienced every phase of this kind of life. As the son of a very active, and Robert Altman was an integral part of the community. But Michael stepped outside of that, took to the highway. He's had a lot of experience. He's been out there. He's done everything from roofing to driving truck. He's a fella that if you say something out there about somebody slinging hash, he probably come in the back door somewhere and flipped a few burgers.
And then and you too are referred to as a road warrior. So the two of you together.
That's I think the thing that built this country. Everybody came out of that, those generations that moved west and built these places along the road, these truck stops and these diners, and brought us all here for the better part.
So I pay tribute to the two road warriors.
Well,
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
And thanks for watching. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. But email me at jaquinn1@aol.com. See you next time.